The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion has been memed to death.
Stop! You violated the law.
And honestly, it deserved it. But it also deserved all the Game of the Year awards and accolades it earned. In fact, it deserved them way more than any other game in the main series. And yes, that includes Skyrim. It's time to admit that the Elder Scrolls series never got better than Oblivion. But before we get into the details, make sure you subscribe to Nerdstalgic Gaming for more videos like this one. So the obvious question to ask here is, if Skyrim was such a hugely popular genre-defining critical darling, then why is this video about Oblivion? Everyone loves Skyrim. Your grandmother probably loves Skyrim. I mean, a Viking-themed, dragon-riddled open-world RPG that dropped mere months after the first episode of Game of Thrones? It's no wonder people picked this game off the shelves. But to understand how and why Oblivion surpasses Skyrim and the rest of the Elder Scrolls series, you first have to understand what makes the Elder Scrolls series good to begin with. When Bethesda Softworks released the Elder Scrolls Arena in March of 1994, they had no idea that they were launching one of the most enduring and beloved RPG series of all time. 1994's Daggerfall, 2002's Morrowind, 2006's Oblivion, and 2011's Skyrim all shot through the roof as far as sales are concerned. There was no stopping the success of the franchise. It had more momentum than a cheese wheel rolling through High Hrothgar. And that's because on top of the expected tropes of the genre, the Elder Scrolls series brings one major thing to the table: a sense of exploration. When it comes to adventuring through open worlds, the Elder Scrolls series is genre royalty, and Oblivion is king, all because of its looping approach to exploration. To give you a sense of what that means, let's look at Oblivion's tutorial. Like all Elder Scrolls games, you start in chains. You're met by the Emperor himself, who retreats down a secret passage in your prison cell. You follow him into the sewers to face assassins, giant rats, goblins, and zombies. The Emperor is killed, but only after he entrusts you with the Amulet of Kings and a single task.
Give it to Joffrey.
Then you go traipsing around in some more sewer water for a while, looking for a way out. It's an unpleasant experience to say the least, but you eventually see daylight coming from one end of a dark, drippy sewer passage. You step out into the sunlight for the first time since loading the game. You can hear the wind blowing over the expanse of rolling hills and water rushing around you. A quick glance at your map tells you that your only objective is halfway across the province. You could fast travel and be there in one awkwardly long load screen, but when you originally walked out of that sewer, what was the first thing you came face to face with? An Ayleid ruin just beyond the water, right in front of you. There's no quest marker to tell you to go there, no signpost to let you know what it is or why it's there, but it's there, and you know it's time to start your adventure. That's your first hint at that sense of exploration we were talking about. While the other games definitely give you the option of bypassing the main quest for a fringe adventure, Oblivion does it in a much more elegant way. The other games, particularly Morrowind and Skyrim, give you a clear and direct path to your main objective. It's super easy to just walk down the road a little to Riverwood in Skyrim, or take the Siltstrider to Balmora in Morrowind, and continue on the main quest from there. But Oblivion does the opposite. It gives you an objective and then subtly places alternative options in the way of that objective. If you want to plow through the main quest, you can do that, but you'll be missing out on tantalizing little detours. Opportunities to build that sense of exploration that the Elder Scrolls series is known for, like that Ayleid ruin we mentioned earlier. So you'll probably ignore the main quest and head on over, which is definitely what lead game designer Ken Ralston had intended. It's the obvious choice, but in the player's mind, it was their unique decision. And after ignoring the main quest to go delving into one or two of these ruins or old forts, you realize your inventory is filling up fast. You should probably find a town. The nearest one is the Imperial City. It looms in the distance with its massive walls and white gold tower. When you get there, you realize there's an entire population of people living within the city walls with available quests, things to buy, things to steal, and guilds to join. It's like a breadcrumb trail for adventure, but it feels like a totally natural player-driven progression. The philosophy seems to be, give the player an objective, put that objective on the path of several other points of interest, and then let the player figure out for themselves which ones they want to interact with. But no matter what they choose to do, they'll always end up back on a path that will lead them to more adventure. It's a loop of exploration. Oblivion's dungeons are a great example of this on a small scale. you're usually presented with a couple of options. There are doors leading to different wings of the building, or circuitous paths that take you deeper into the cave, or secret passages that open up to whole new rooms. And you can choose which of these places you want to explore. Along the way, you'll have to avoid clever traps and take down hostile foes. But what you probably don't realize is that the development team has intentionally built most of these places so that once you've cleared the area, it loops back and spits you out close to the entrance. Once again, they've given you an objective. In this case, it's a dungeon to explore. Then they've put obstacles in your way in the form of enemies, traps, and branching pathways. They let you choose which you want to deal with, and then they subtly loop you back into the right path, leaving you feeling ready for another adventure. Compare this to Skyrim's dungeons. They usually feel very linear. A lot of the time, you're only presented with one door to go through, which leads to a room with yet one more door to go through. And that repeats until you find yourself at the end. There's no real sense of exploration there. Morrowind has a similar issue with the added problem of a lot of assets being copy and pasted, leaving many dungeons feeling way too similar. So when the points of interest are as good as they are in Oblivion, it tends to make you feel like you're really an explorer who is solving or committing crimes, exterminating monsters, playing your hand in politics, and just experiencing the world. And there's a lot of world to experience. We can't get through this entire video without mentioning the guild quest lines, which are absolutely top tier, the intricate heists of the Thieves Guild, twists and turns of the Dark Brotherhood, and genuine intrigue of the Mages and Fighters Guild storylines honestly deserve their own video. Some of the most colorful characters and imaginative levels come from Oblivion's guild quest lines, and frankly, no other game in the series can touch them. No, not even Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood. Skyrim's guild quests tend to feel very isolated. Maybe it's because the guild headquarters are usually in remote areas, and the quests themselves end up taking you through one of those linear dungeons we talked about earlier. But Oblivion's looping exploration philosophy means that guild quests lead you on merry adventures. They force you to explore corners of the map that you wouldn't otherwise have gotten to, while still having to return to central locations in big cities that once again give you opportunity for other adventures. And that sense of exploration does wonders for the endgame. When the fate of the continent hangs in the balance, you actually care. You care because you've spent so much time independently adventuring through the area that's being threatened with destruction. Remember the end of Skyrim? I honestly wouldn't blame you if you didn't. You go to Sovngarde, enlist some Nord spirit warrior allies, and defeat Alduin with a shout that forces him to the ground so you can pummel him to death. And honestly, going to the afterlife to beat down a dragon with some dead Nords you met 5 minutes ago just doesn't have the same effect as watching the Imperial City, a place you've spent tens of hours questing in, fall to fire and ash. When the spirit of a dragon god appears and starts to fight a giant avatar of evil, and you're running through the streets of the city and you can see buildings you've been in, NPCs you've formed relationships with, every city district has a story you've had a hand in shaping, and now it's falling apart around you. It's that kind of storytelling that none of the other games have even come close to replicating, and that's only possible because the devs took that looping approach to exploration, which is why the Elder Scrolls series never got better than Oblivion. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you're still here, leave a comment and let us know what your favorite Elder Scrolls game is. And be sure to subscribe while you're at it.